Okay.
Okay, if you didn't know, I'm Avery, and I'm going to talk about organic food production. The International Agency for Research on Cancer performed a study in 2018 that proved that people who have the average amount of ultra-processed foods have a 12% increased risk of getting cancer sometime in their life. Unfortunately, for that, our average food in the U.S. is considered ultra-processed these days, which is why I'll tell you all about organic food production today. We all eat food, and it's very important to know what we're fueling our bodies with and how it's going to affect us in the long run. I've spent years learning about organic food from a good friend, Dr. Jill Johnson, and hours researching the actual science behind it. I'll be covering the differences between organic food production and conventional food production, the effects of pesticides and growth hormones, antibiotics, how they affect us, and why the prices are so different for natural foods. Organic food, in a brief overview, is just growing food in a more natural way. In the late 80s and early 90s, people started noticing a change in how our food affected our health, and that's what sparked the Organic Food Production Act that was put in act in the 1990 Farm Bill, according to the USDA.gov. This provided regulations of when people could call things organic, how it was grown, produced, handled, and since then there have been many other organic organizations like the USDA National Organic Program, which is the symbol you'll find on all official organic food. So you'll probably have seen this symbol in grocery stores, and if it's food can be like natural or like free range too, and it's still very good for you, and they're probably not lying about its health effects, but it's not officially organic. Alright, more specifically, organic foods have nearly no pesticides and growth hormones, synthetic fertilizers, antibiotics, any kind of that kind of stuff. Instead, they promote faster, safe growth with manures, cover crops, crop rotations, and for livestock farmers, they use rotational grazing and avoid antibiotics and fertilizers. On the other hand, the U.S. food production system is getting really corrupt, and big name companies like Cargill and Archer Daniels Midland Company, they don't really care how good the product is for you. They just care about getting it out faster because time is money. More product you can get out, the more money they're going to make. This kind of mentality is what started bringing so many chemicals into the farming world, and their products get there faster, whatnot. This are the differences between a conventional strawberry and an organic strawberry. They have to list all the pesticides and chemicals they use. There are some organic approved pesticides, so sometimes you'll see 2 or 3 more ingredients on the organic strawberry, but it kind of puts into perspective how much more is going into your body than you realize. You don't really think either organic is really pesticide and chemical free, but there aren't too many regulations around if you have a conventional field and you have an organic field right here, when they go flying across and they drop all their pesticides on the fields, the wind inevitably is going to take some of it and a little bit is going to get onto the organic produce, which there's not as much, it's okay, it's still considered organic, it's just to very limited amounts. These chemicals are obviously very safe in the foods and won't do too much to harm, or else they wouldn't be allowed. And the long-term effects are just starting to pop up and spark questions though, especially in meats and livestock produce. They pump pigs, cows, and chickens full of antibiotics to keep them healthy to sell more product. If anyone has heard of superbugs, it's bacteria that's really becoming resistant to the antibiotics that we have already created. And the U.S. National Library of Medicine states that the antibiotic use in livestock is really promoting that. Livestock, they also use progesterone, testosterone, zenorol, and trebolone, which sounds like big scary words, I know, but it's all just synthetic hormones to make the animals grow faster. The issue with that is when we get that livestock in our grocery stores and we consume it, minute traces of the antibiotics get into our bodies. same with the growth hormones, and because of that, it's causing faster growth and maturity during the puberty ages especially. Dr. L. Verhoeven-Wine did a study giving girls ages 4 to 8 and boys ages 4 to 10 minute traces of growth hormones for 2 years, and the results of that were accelerated bone maturity, which means they were like 3 to 9 centimeters on average taller than the control group, and early onset puberty. When it comes to produce, other than livestock, like fruits and veggies, pesticides are used to fight off like insects, funguses, and weeds, which sounds like really good, and we don't want those things in our foods, right? But the World Health Organization states that there may be adverse health effects, including cancer, effects on reproduction, immune, and nervous systems, which that's all we really know for now because it's such a new issue. They don't have too many studies with like actual statistics and numbers. There is a study done by the University of Washington, though, that states that the exposure of pesticides in young kids also promotes ADD, ADHD, and they've seen a huge increase in diagnosis ages 8 to 15. Obviously, these chemicals aren't ideal to be putting into our systems and all of that, but if they were really too harmful, the government would ban them. I think the reason that they keep them here is because it's really expensive to raise crop organically. Here's some examples of prices. So you'll see on the left-hand side is the organic prices, the right-hand side is conventional. There are differences up to $2 and $3, which doesn't sound like that bad, but after weeks and weeks of buying groceries, it really tends to add up. Because farmers either have to keep animals alive longer, they grow slower, it costs more to raise, they'll have some livestock die because they aren't using antibiotics as often. So the limited amount of livestock raises the prices, supply and demand. With fruits and veggies, it's pretty similar. Without the fertilization and use of pesticides, they grow a little slower. Some will be lost to funguses and weeds. That's a big reason why the government can't just cut out all non-organic food and say, like, this is all we're going to have. And I hope you all feel like you have a better insight on food production. There are so many more differences between organic and conventional production than you would think. And now you know how chemicals in food can harm you in the long run. And maybe someday we will be able to make affordable organic produce available for everyone. Thank you.